little bit of a mishmash transfer video for you today. It's a lot of the stuff, clear enough stuff from yesterday. Ezekiel Banzuzi and, of course, Angel Gomes. Got some more details on Gomes. It's not so much I've got more details on Banzuzi. It's the same as it was yesterday anyway, basically. But I think the trouble was a lot of people got very excited, largely based off what Sky Sports News were reporting yesterday, that we were about to sign a player. But we never were. I think people put two and two together as well, with some people reporting West Ham were very close to signing somebody. Well, as far as I understood it, we weren't. But I think some people thought that somebody would be Banzuzi, and then basically the story sort of changed. But really, nothing had changed. I think just people had got their wires crossed, really, which is a shame. He looks to be a good player. I would like to sign him. I was disappointed. I did want to, the information to be wrong on that. And I was there was part of me that was quite hopeful that the club might have gone a little bit secret squirrel and they might have just been putting out misinformation while secretly signing the player in the background. Again, even as I report this now, there's still an element of me that would like that to happen, but that's not what I understand is the case. What I understand to be the case is that West Ham made an offer to the Belgian club, and it was at the start of the window. It was Karren Brady who made the offer, and it was this is our first and our final offer, and it was well short. And I am very mindful about being the one that's giving bad news here, and I am aware that that it's probably easier to give good news, but as far as I'm concerned, it just wouldn't be accurate. So this may well be the last player that's been targeted by Tim Steidten. This was targeted by Tim Steidten and by Maximilian Hans, who has got has made quite a nice name for himself at West Ham. We haven't signed any of his players yet, but I think the club seem to be quite impressed with him. And as I understand it, Macauley coming in will not mean that Hans goes. But so this is possibly the last bit of talent being identified by Tim Steidten. So I just want to say that now. I don't want to speak about it in months' time. I just want to be able to say, I said this back then. I think his role is so diminished now that he's just not really doing anything at West Ham anymore. And I don't think he'll last very much longer. The club have moved in a completely different direction, even since the summer. So the people doing the deals now are not the people that were doing the deals in the summer. We were well short of the offer with Banzuzi and his club. Well, when they were told take it or leave it, they said we'll leave it, and that was the story all day. And I think all that happened was, some people, I don't know why people were reporting it. Obviously, they must have thought that the information was correct. But reports that he was on a plane yesterday and having his medical yesterday were wide of the mark. And I guess the club would still retain an interest in him, but there's no, as far as I've been told, there's not even close. The negotiation. There weren't even negotiations as such. There was one offer. It was made 2 weeks ago. It was rejected. That's it. I am sorry to say that, and I don't. You don't get the best of messages on the videos where you're giving bad news. And I'm not looking to sort of. I'd rather believe you me. I'd rather be doing a video right now saying West Ham have signed somebody. It would be much better. But that's the case on that, certainly. With regard to Angel Gomes, certainly a lot of people saying, "Are you sure you're right on this Gomes stuff yesterday?" No one can ever be sure on any of this stuff, but I'm just telling you as I understand it, and I think it's a really, really good source. West Ham not a lot has changed from yesterday, as in West Ham are nowhere near making an agreement for Gomes. Not on his wages and not on the money that his representatives would need. That's for sure. And the thing is, when it's a free transfer, it would be normal that the player would basically everyone wins. That the club save on a transfer fee. I don't know, whatever Gomes might be worth in the market ordinarily. Maybe it's a £30 million player. I don't know, but whatever you think it might be, ordinarily. You would take half of that and you'd sort of split it. So sort of half of that would go towards, West Ham would end up saving 15, 20 million, and then the other 10 million would go towards the player and his representatives. The player gets a bigger wage, and the agent or the family or whatever would get an extra little bit of money to oil the wheels and if everyone gets a deal. We're a million miles away from all of it, basically. And as I mentioned yesterday, there are clubs, Premier League clubs, who are further ahead than us. I believe he's probably going to come to the Premier League. there's a couple of people reporting some really big clubs yesterday when they're talking about, you can understand it if Gomes moves to whatever. He could go to Manchester United, don't get me wrong, but I'm hearing he may well move to another Premier League club, which traditionally West Ham fans would certainly think were a smaller club than West Ham. I think there's not going to be a great fallout here. It's not going to be a great reaction if Gomes moves to the club. To a club that wouldn't be called a top 6 club, a top 8 club, whatever you want to call it. Let's put it that way. So we're struggling to compete on wages for any of these players at the moment. I don't know whether that's because we've overspent in the summer. It would be, it's difficult to say so, but the information I have is that with the Banzuzi, it was Karren Brady who did the negotiating. As I mentioned yesterday, there have been there's a third party, which are basically two people. Two people have been mandated to try and get the Gomes deal over the line. Again, some people were sort of questioning that yesterday. I do believe that is the case. I just think they also tried to did the last Duran deal. So not the one in the summer. Steidten was involved in the one in the summer. The most recent deal for the Duran, that was these two intermediaries. I'm not going to say their names for obvious reasons, but they have been mandated with trying to get the Gomes deal over the line, and they're nowhere near. So I don't think it's looking like they will be successful at all, which is a real shame, because there is a chance for West Ham to get this player, as I understand it. West Ham could get this player, and I think people will possibly see that in the near future, that there is a chance. But we're really mucking this up, and far from it. I'm not trying to make any defence of the club or try and say that it's anyone else's fault. We're doing. West Ham's transfer strategy is very bad at the moment, very, very bad, and we're not doing well on this stuff at all. We've been unsuccessful in almost everything that we have done. Now, it may well be that we do sign somebody in this window. In fact, I think we will sign somebody in this window, but I'm not entirely sure how good they'll be at the moment, because any top-class players that we're going for, we're not getting anywhere near. It just doesn't look like we've got the money to compete at the level that some of the other clubs, and even, as I say, even mid-table Premier League teams. I know some people were speaking about Cunha, who's been made available for Wolves, I believe Nottingham Forest. Might be looking to make a £50 million bid or something like that. We're nowhere near being able to, and I'm sorry to say it, I'm not even talking about Forest, by the way, with Gomes and that. We're nowhere near being able to compete with those clubs. So it's yes, I'm sorry to say this. I wish I could do a different video, but it's all looking pretty grim in terms of top players coming in. That much is for certain. Sorry, I wish I could be telling you a little bit more. Really, I'd certainly like to think that something is happening, but I think it would be disingenuous of me to sit here and perhaps say that West Ham are going to be doing anything anytime soon. There remains an urgency in the club to bring some players in. But I think what with Kyle Macauley coming in, who was chief analyst at Chelsea, he may have come in just a little bit too late, I think, possibly for him to have any influence. So, by the looks of it, bearing in mind we bid for Banzuzi 2 weeks ago, that was almost a bid from the outgoing recruitment regime. So this new lot are going to take a little while to get their feet under the table. I do not doubt that Potter and Macauley have got their own list of players. But it's going to be difficult, I think, purely because if Macauley is possibly even coming in as the future new director of football, then it still needs somebody to do the negotiating now. And so it's really a case of, as things are at the moment, Sullivan's having very, very little to do with any recruitment. There seems to be Karren Brady, and I say, and this outsourced duo who've not been doing particularly well, it has to be said, although they have brought one player into West Ham in the past, which was probably about 3-4 years ago, something like that, but nobody that would, nobody that would make a splash, so to speak. So, yeah, I think at the moment, possibly one of West Ham's biggest problems, not just so much the money, it's the lack of an experienced negotiating team at the moment. For what reasons? Well, I think you know why Steidten's not being involved. Sullivan's not involved at the moment, particularly, and so I think we're pinning all our hopes, really, on an awful lot of people that we don't know an awful lot about, if you know what I mean. Anyway, just my thoughts at the moment. Hopefully, I'm wrong. And I do want to say that I would love to be wrong. I would love. You know, yesterday people were saying you're wrong. We are close to signing Gomes. Lots of those messages. And I'd love to be wrong on it. I would honestly, and I will come on here and I will do a video and I'll say, I'm really pleased because I want this player more than I want to be, you know, the information that we're getting to be right. Let's get that absolutely right. But at the moment, certainly those targets, the 3 targets we've got, they're not public, are they? Because the club wouldn't confirm. Well, actually, the Banzuzi one they did, to be fair, but only to say that we're not dealing with him anymore. That was quite frank. I think the club was quite, I wouldn't say annoyed, but the club was surprised that Sky Sports News were running it on a ticker tape because they said we've not flown him over. There's no medical books. The Belgian club turned down the offer 2 weeks ago, and there's been no offer since. Look, whether West Ham are playing hardball, we're going to try and go in late at the end of the window on these players. I don't know. That may well work with this Banzuzi. Who knows? It's certainly not going to work with Angel Gomes because we are, as I say, we are significantly behind on the wages, significantly behind on the money to pay the agents, and as we understand it, somebody else, a Premier League club, has come in and blown our offer out the water. With their first offer. So have we made a bid for him? Yes, I believe we have, but it's absolutely bottom of the pile. I won't use the term, the industrial language I've been told about the bid, but not good. Let's go with not good. Anyway, hopefully by the time I've finished recording this video, I'll have got it all wrong, and I'll be uploading another video saying, hey, we've signed Banzuzi and we've signed Angel Gomes, but as things stand at the moment, nowhere near.